Is anybody else coming in for meditation? Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So it's done then, right? Okay.
All right. Is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, I did. Come on, let's go back. There. All right. Let's begin the process. And the process today is releasing all of the resistance and all the negativity that is within our lives in this moment. So I invite you to get comfortable, allowing the chair to support your weight as we begin the process of returning to that place within ourselves, that safe, sacred, spiritual place. And as this process begins, let us take 3 large deep breaths. And within each exhalation, allowing your shoulders to drop just a little bit. As we move easily and gently into that place of relaxation. That's it. Just allow everything to relax. Feel so comfortable to relax. Feels wonderful. So as we allow that feeling to wash over our bodies, bringing with it comfort and a sense of well-being. As we go deeper and deeper into that feeling of relaxation, that place that is sacred and safe. Bringing the focus to the core of your being. That's it. Bringing it to that place that's so comfortable. Safe. Healthy. Peaceful. That's it. I'd like you to use your imagination now as we move further and further into that place, that connection deep within our being. That place which is connected to all that is. Allowing that connection to fill your awareness and your consciousness. Remembering that No matter how relaxed you are in this moment, you can even be more relaxed, more comfortable. I'd like you to now allow yourself to let your mind wander and wander to that place that has a sense of resistance in your life in this moment. Whether it be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. That resistance or that negativity. I would like you to give it a color. As we allow the creative process to move easily and gently within this meditation. I'd like you to now give it a texture. Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it slippery? Choose it yourself. Because this is a very unique, personal exercise. Now give it a temperature. Is it warm? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it cool? And now what about size? I invite you to now get very familiar with this representation of that thing that is resistant or negative within your life. Sensing it completely. Holding it out in front of you. And as we allow this image, this representation to fill our awareness, again, I would love you to use your imagination. And as you breathe in and out, I invite you to do it through your heart. And as you breathe in through your heart, you breathe in love. And as you breathe out, you breathe out love. breathing in the love of God, the love of Source. And breathing out your love. And as you breathe out, surround this image that you have just created. I invite you to surround and encompass this image, this object, with your love. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Noticing how, as you encapsulate this image with your love, this image becomes less and less. It becomes smaller and smaller. Because resistance or negativity always dissipates with love. Sensing the love, radiating the love. Bringing peace and tranquility to this resistance. Allowing it to dissipate. Just releasing it easily and gently. Allowing it to move away with your love. Release. Let go. And allow yourself to be love. Easily and naturally. Filling your awareness. Feeling free. Feeling in alignment. Feeling so comfortable. Being the love that is completely and totally filling your awareness. That's it. Feel the freedom. Allowing the freedom to conjure up within you a feeling of gratitude. And as we allow this feeling of gratitude to permeate each and every aspect of who you are, confirmed this by saying, and so it is.
It's in my way. It's in my way. I can't see.
Not really.
Can go on the other side. Good morning. I am Joan, and I will be your facilitator this morning. And today we have Fun Day School, and I don't think our children are just arriving. So let's go into Song 2.
Song 2.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Song number 2. Oh, there's music on this one. Okay.
So I
Oh.
can't bypass it? We'll wait.
Okay. Happy Labor Day.
When you say happy Labor Day, means you have to go to work or something.
Yeah. You have to work at eating our potluck.
Laboring through all those fun times.
Yes, there you go.
Lifting that spoon, you know?
They're in the washroom.
Okay. That's an important place to be.
We can bypass it. I can just turn off, mute the volume here.
So how's everybody doing this morning? Super. I'm glad you're in town. There's only once, I think, in my career that I had one person in the audience. And we were renting a theater that was a movie theater, a small one though, that stacked like 200 people. And she was probably up in about the 10th row. And I said to her, so do I give you the whole enchilada or do we go for breakfast and I'll tell you over breakfast? And she said, I did my hair, I did my makeup, I got dressed, give me the whole enchilada. So we went through and did the whole thing and she was happy and then we had breakfast. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And our children are so important, I think it's worth it to wait for them. I had an inquiry on email this week about, do we have anything for teenagers? And that this family really wants their children to grow up with these principles and even though they're teenagers already to be able to provide that. And I said, we're absolutely open to that, we just don't have any yet. So, see it progressing. It'd be lovely to have some young people here that are at that stage in their life.
There is going back a long way. We had a little red-haired gentleman in a wheelchair. And all the way through we saw him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've seen him here a couple of times.
Oh, yes, we have.
Yes.
Yeah, we have.
And his mom has been away, so she's back in September, so we may see him again once she comes back. She's been traveling. Here we are. Are we ready to sing our favorite song?
We have more children coming in.
I am who I am. I am who I am. Who I am is just perfect. I am who I am. I have all I need here inside.
is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. It's my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. Oh, and once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. And this is a song by Sue K. Riley, I Speak Only Love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love. Let's do that one more time. Love, love, I speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love.
Join with me in consciousness as I center in this idea of love, of speaking only love, of being the love that I wish to see in the world, of being the love that I choose to experience in absolutely every moment of my day. I know there is only one thing going on here, and in its truest form, it is love. That is who I am. That is all of the world. Constantly, constantly evolving into even more love. And so as I focus on it, I know that I get to enjoy it. I get to bask in it. I get to be supported by it. For it is at the core of my being, never separated, never apart. So I let go and I let it be so. I let it be my reality. Please join with me in saying, and so it is.
And let's sing that again together. Love, love. Here we go. Love, love. I speak only love. Love, love. I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love. Love, 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 love. I speak only love. Love, love. I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love. Let's do that one final time. Love, love, I speak only love. Love, love, I speak only love. From the morning sweet light to the last star of night, let my words speak only love.
Thank you, Deidre. And now for the daily word. Today's words are abundant living. We all love that. Let's say that together.
Abundant living.
I live joyously and abundantly. Living abundantly means living in gratitude, without fear or limitation. It is living with an awareness of my divine nature as an expression of light, life, love, and peace. In a spirit of gratitude, I notice the blessings that flow into my life every day, like the hummingbird that flew by my window yesterday. I give thanks for each one, large or small, knowing I have all I need. With God as my source, I have unlimited resources that I can summon from within at any time. I see beyond any negative appearance to the truth of my being. I am whole, complete, and able. My relationships are harmonious. My life is in order. I have enough to use and share. For these truths, I believe a prayer of thanks. Abundance is all around me. The good person out of the good treasure of the heart produces good. From Luke, verse 6:45. And now is the time when a volunteer willingly stands up or stays in their seat and gives us an example of how unity has impacted your life. Oh, I can see the willingness in the eyes. It's like, I want to do it. Yes, me.
And you know, I want you to think about something. What is it that you're learning here? What is it that are the nuggets that you have received that have transformed your life in a way that you see it through a lens that is so totally different? And so maybe it's that you're more grateful. Maybe it's that you're generally happier. Maybe it's that you remember sooner that whatever it is that is negative can be transformed by your way of thinking. And so it doesn't have to be something huge. It can be something small, like you smiled at someone and you knew that it made a difference because you did it intentionally. You paid it forward and bought someone's coffee. You found a dime on the ground, and you had been affirming prosperity, so it was showing up in that way. So I invite you to think about, even if it's not for today, for the future, as we ask for this few minutes, to focus on how it is that your perspective has changed as a consequence of unity, as a consequence of these new thought teachings, and how it has made your life better.
I'll share something.
Okay, Jackie.
This morning I had a realization that I started tithing probably a couple of years ago, like really tithing. And at first it was hard, and I just suddenly realized that even though I'm tithing, I never seem to be short money. That since I've started tithing and stopped thinking about it, I just seem to have money, and I wonder, because my income hasn't changed, nothing's changed, and I wonder what's changed, that suddenly I have money when I never used to seem to have any. So it's the same amount of money, but it just seems to go further. So I can't explain it, but I had that realization.
The mystery of spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. The annual theme is One Humanity, Many Stories. The monthly theme is Ensure the Stewardship of Our Planet. Think of the many ways in which we can do that. And the book of the month is Spiritual Ecology. It is available on the table next to Reverend Randy at the back of the room. Thank you. And today's talk is all about love. And here is Deidre with a great song to get you in that flow of inspiration.
This is a great number by Karen Drucker. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Would you sing that with me? If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Would you sing that with me? Give and receive. If love is why you're here, let's hang on to that for a second. Love is why you're here. Let me be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. If love is why you're here, may you be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Why are you here exactly? If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. Let's sing give and receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
Good morning, everyone. You all know I'm Reverend Anna Hokangas, don't you? Though I like to tell you, just in case. We're talking about ensuring the stewardship of our planet, and the focus today is on love. And how does love ensure the stewardship of our planet? So that's what I'd like to explore. So I'll start with something funny that has nothing to do with ensuring the planet. This man goes to the doctor, and he's been having trouble. And he says to the doctor, everywhere I touch, it hurts. He says, like, I touch here and it hurts, I touch here and it hurts, I touch here and it hurts. And so the doctor says, okay, well, let's do some tests and let's ask you a few questions. And at the end of the appointment, the doctor says, I know what your problem is. And he says, what's that? He says, you have a fractured forefinger. And so sometimes life presents itself in ways that we look for it to be more complicated than it actually is, and that it can be staring us right in the face. And so we're looking at stewardship of our planet. We're living in a time where they're talking about the great big island of garbage in the Pacific Ocean. We're talking about all kinds of ways that we might be able to be ecological. And so what can we as individuals do is one of the things that we'll look at. Many of these things you're probably doing already, that your consciousness already knows what to do and how to do it. And it's to connect with that. And how can we become more aware of what we need to do? What is it that we can do to align ourselves to have even more information? Because we know what we know. We kind of know what we don't know in some cases, but then there are things we don't know that we don't know, right? And so let's explore all of that. So something I don't know that you're necessarily aware of is that the Earth began 4.5 billion years ago, is what they're basically saying based on all of the research that they've done. And that in the last 100 years, we have undone probably about 50% of what had evolved up to that point. Now, how shocking is that during this revolutionary time that we live in, that we feel as though we just have such a handle on everything, and yet we've undone this most incredible planet in such a short period of time. And so is that spiritual? Absolutely, because if we don't look after the earth, where are we going to live? It's kind of like if we don't look after ourselves, where are we going to live? So the number one contributor to global warming is power generation. And you see that, you go to big cities and different places and you see all the lights on in buildings. Many buildings now will only have every other floor lit or whatever. I don't know if you know of any streets that you can drive on where there's no street lights. I remember when I went to Unity Village to visit my girlfriend Dagmar while she was studying ministerial school. She was staying in an apartment, just a little area next to Unity Village. And the people on that street didn't pay for a street light, so there were no lights. And I remember how uncomfortable it felt driving with just the car lights, and it was so dark trying to find the driveway and all of that kind of thing. And yet, haven't we gotten used to light pollution at night? Like, how many of us have lately been in the forest where it's actually just really dark? Anybody? Most recently? I remember going camping with a friend of mine, and we were moving the canoe from one place to another, and it was starting to get dark, and we wanted to get to where we were going to set up our campsite, and all of a sudden it was pitch black. I couldn't even see my friend in front of me. And I had never experienced that kind of lack of light in my life to that point. There weren't even any stars. And so when you think about power generation, there are so many areas that we can improve on. Meat industry is another one I'll go into a little bit more in terms of how much more energy it takes for us to grow meat. And then, of course, vehicles, including planes and ships and that kind of thing. So global warming, we talked a little bit about that. Is there anything that you're doing in particular in terms of power generation that's making a difference ecologically that you feel really good about? Anyone want to share anything? LEDs, yes.
Everything in the house is LED.
Yes. And what's the cost saving? Something like you're paying 1/5 or something of the expense? 1/7? Yeah, like how fabulous is that? Anyone gone that route with LEDs? Yeah. And like here we have fluorescent lights, and whenever we can, we stay with that type of lighting. When we moved into our home, we basically changed most of the light fixtures to LED lights, and some of them are even on dimmers now, which is really great, so you have some control over that. But not only is it saving in our pocket, but when you think about it, it's saving generally in terms of needing to create power and all of that. So is there anything else that you might be doing electrically that is saving money? Yeah. You open your windows?
It's so cool that we don't need to, we've had very little air conditioning this year.
Okay.
We also have a Google Home, so every time it notices our cell phones are gone, it doesn't put on the air conditioning.
Ah,
So then when it knows we're back, it's like, oh, you're back, so it's going to be back on.
how fabulous is that? And what was it?
I will turn the lights off in the house where I'm not. Okay, I
Yes.
only keep the lights where I am.
Okay.
Turn the other ones off.
I'm not always really good at that, and Randy is really good at reminding me. I hate it when you didn't turn that off. And so it's been, 20 years? Eventually I'll get it, I think. So, too, the meat industry. Did you know that meat requires 30 times more space and land than vegetables do? Now, I know for a fact that I eat meat because that's the model of the world I grew up in. I mean, my dad was a hunter and a fisherman, so it wasn't meat that we purchased from the store, but it was something that he brought home. So it didn't have the same kind of footprint, negative footprint on the earth as, let's say, growing a cow or growing a pig or chickens or that kind of thing. So it's something that they're suggesting, the people who are saying be more ecological, to use meat, if you're going to be a carnivore, as more of a condiment than the main course. And it's something that we have certainly gone to, and I'm finding today I seem to need to flavor my meat so much so that it doesn't taste like meat. So I think I'm probably really close to being a vegetarian. Are there any vegetarians here today? A couple, yes. You know, one day I will be there too. And it's changing our food habits. We watch a lot of YouTube videos on people who are cooking vegetarian and things. And oh my goodness, the stuff looks so good. It's just a matter of getting into a new habit, isn't it? And then vehicles, including planes and ships, etc. We drove past a big parking lot the other day, and there were all these Tesla recharge stations up at Lime Ridge Mall. And I said to Randy, will they recharge other cars other than Teslas? I don't know. I don't know if they have the same kind of plug-in mechanisms or not, but there were no Teslas plugged in. I guess they're, eventually they will be. We have a car that happens to be a hybrid. And Randy is the first to say, woohoo, we got like 55 miles to the gallon today going here or going there, because it shows you the kind of mileage that you get. And so I invite you to think about that in terms of, as you move forward, perhaps purchasing a new car or giving a ride to someone, or maybe there's other ways that you can get around, or do all of your trips in one day so that you're not making multiple trips every day, just to save on fuel, and you ultimately help to save the planet. So what gets in the way of us being ecological? Greed. There's so much money in it, in fashion, for instance, to have to keep buying new clothes. I was caught up in that scenario until I started to make my own. So now the fashion I wear is the design of the day for me. But there was a time in my 20s where, if mini skirts were in style, all the women had mini skirts. If high boots were in style, everybody had high boots. If red was in style, you had red. If, a shirt with a certain kind of collar was in style, you had that. If the tie was skinny or fat, that was the style that you had. And we ended up accumulating a tremendous amount of stuff as a consequence of that no longer was in fashion, and so you couldn't dare wear it again. And so we accumulate all of this waste. So ego can get in the way. It's like, no, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. It's my life, and I get to do that. And how many people do you know that are like that? They don't care about the ecology, about the economy, about what you think about it, any of that. Sensory pleasures. I can never be a vegetarian because I love beef, might be the sensory pleasure, right? And sure, you can survive without it. All I'm saying is that there may be something getting in your way, and what is it that's getting in the way of you being as ecological as you can possibly be? Jackie, you got an idea?
Time. They make it so convenient to eat processed food, to grab things quickly, it's more effort sometimes. Seems to have more effort or more time. You can easily get in the habit of taking quick shortcuts.
Yes, yes. And then we accumulate all this waste, and yes,
Pre-prepared food in the grocery stores, all in their plastic containers.
yes.
Pre-cut, pre-washed.
And I mean, I'm there with you. People say that they cook at home, but how many people cook totally from scratch? There's a few. It's a lot of work, though, isn't it? Until you get into the habit of it. I remember a woman who said, okay, I'm going to take my family, 2 children, her and her husband, and we are going to only eat what we make. Well, she didn't think about vinegar, mustard, ketchup, salt, pepper. There were all kinds of things that they ended up not consuming for that week. The kids went crazy because that was not the way that they were used to eating. But think about how much we get that's already pre-prepared, and that if we were to do it ourselves, we really create a much smaller footprint. There was a native, an East Indian man actually, that was on a YouTube video. He was a guru, and he was talking about how can we save the planet, and he basically said, by having less people on it. Now that's pretty hard to control. I mean, the Chinese try to control it by not having as many girls as boys and that kind of thing. But one of the things that he said in that conversation that really hit me was, there are more people in India than there are per square foot in a whole lot of other places in the world. And yet if somebody dies in India, it doesn't leave an impact at all, because they didn't leave a footprint, because they don't consume the way that we consume, as in an ecological footprint. And whereas if one of us were to pass away, think about all the garbage we're not producing because we're not here anymore. All of the boxes, all of the water bottles, all of the other things that we consume. And I thought, it's a nice thought. I don't know what I would do about that, other than I'll tell you about it. And you can do with it whatever you want. So this is where spirituality comes in. The whole idea is that if you're centered in new thought principles, in spirituality, which means you know your connectedness to everything, that then it gets really easy to be ecological. Does that make sense? Because if that blade of grass or that tree out there or that lake out there or that air out there is part of who I am, how can I be more responsible for it? But how do I get to that place? How do I get to that place of real love and awareness for absolutely everything? And it comes with prayer and meditation. It comes with taking the time to relax, go into that place of centeredness, recognize that you are not separate from all that is. And when you're in that place a lot, how can you look at the world any other way but with this unconditional positive regard. Does that make sense? And so if you're looking for a reason to meditate more, then that's a really good one. And nobody even needs to know you're doing it, but you're making a difference. Because you're surrounding yourself, filling yourself up with the positive love of the universe, which then guides you to do certain things that are just so much better, not only for you, but for the environment. Does that make sense? Have you had that experience in meditation where you come out just so much more positive? How about with prayer? Does it work the same way for you for prayer? Now, some people pray asking for things to be fixed, so it's pretty difficult in that kind of a prayer to come out positive because you don't see an end result. But if you're praying as God rather than to God, as in I'm grateful for everything, then how can you help but not appreciate everything that's out there? Including the wailing of children in the other room. So every action has a reaction. Do you believe that? Okay. Sometimes it's delayed and sometimes it's instant. And I don't know about you, but getting into new habits can be a little bit difficult if you don't see the results right away. Would you say that's true? And to stick to it for a while can take a lot of patience and perseverance, and it means thinking about it on a daily basis. So I invite you to think about what you might do to start your day to be more open to not only loving the earth more and being more ecological, but just seeing everything with unconditional positive regard. Can you think of something that you really pushed yourself to do? It didn't happen right away, but over a period of time it did, and now you're really happy that you're in that habit?
Prosperity.
The prosperity.
Stop and start, stop and start, stop and start.
Okay. Anybody else? Nothing that you can think of off the top of your head. You will at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning or something like that. So this is from Galatians. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. And so that first statement when it says God cannot be mocked, in other words, God can't be fooled. And where is God but within you? You know when you say something and you know it's not true, you can feel it even as it's coming through your lips. That's because that's the God part of you that is recognizing what is false, what is true, what is good, what is not good for you. Chapter 8, I guess we'll call it, paragraph 8. The one who sows to please his sinful nature, from that nature will reap destruction. The one who sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. And that sounds pretty kind of negative, and that there's somebody up there looking at you saying, you're going to be, lightning bolt's going to hit you. But what it means is that if you're thinking negatively, you're going to have negative experiences. If you're thinking carelessly, you're going to have a careless life, and it's going to show up that way. If you're thinking, oh, this doesn't matter, then you're going to have all kinds of reasons to not care. Does that make sense? Number 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And that's that whole thing that you may not have instant results. We may not see the world all of a sudden not have this garbage island in the middle of the Pacific, but we're not adding to it. We're not making it worse. And at the same time, there's somebody out there, like there's this 21-year-old who's developed this mechanism, and he was able to get several $1 million to create it, and it was this some kind of like a floating fence that went down with nets to catch all of the plastic. And the first go round, it didn't work very well, and so he got more millions because the companies that were supporting him really felt that it was making a difference. But there are people out there, and there are a younger generation that have these fabulous ideas to solve what it is that we created and to move forward. And that came from, I believe, from that innocent place of a youngster who has not yet been really indoctrinated in all of this bad habits that we have. It's really super. So, do you believe in reincarnation? Is there anyone who doesn't? Okay. Cool. I don't know for sure. I have this idea that it's true. And it's interesting. I have a few copies of this statement of faith at the back, if you're interested in looking at it. It is from the early days of our founder, Charles Fillmore, and he basically wrote out 30 principles that he believed were the unity principles that guided his life and what he was teaching. And in number, I believe it's 23, this is the statement of faith in number 22. We believe that the dissolution of spirit, soul, and body caused by death is annulled by rebirth of the same spirit and soul in another body here on earth. We believe the repeated incarnations of man to be a merciful provision of our loving Father to the end that all may have the opportunity to attain immortality through regeneration, as did Jesus. It's a really long statement, and the entire brochure is long like that. But if you're interested in just looking at the principles that founded us, that started us, take a look at it. Like I said, I printed about 10 of them for those that are interested in taking them home and looking at it. Do you agree with all of them? Do you agree with some of them? But what I'm getting at here is with reincarnation, then that means that we're coming back to this place. So how are we leaving it? We say, what are we doing for our children, for the future generation? But based on this principle and your belief and my belief that we are reincarnated, then what are we leaving for ourselves? Because you could say, oh, well, it really doesn't matter because I'm going to be here another 30 years and then I'm gone, so who cares? Leave it to them to worry about. But the thing is, if it's you coming back, like there was this wonderful, wonderful man whose hair I cut for many, many years. And then he separated. And his wife moved to Victoria. She was a nurse and she moved to Victoria. And she was out of his life for about 5 years. And then 1 year she wanted to go on a vacation and she couldn't find someone to go on a vacation with. So she called him because they were still friends and said, let's go on holidays together because, two going together saved money than, if you pay the extra fee for one person traveling. So they started to go once a year on vacation. And they ended up falling back in love with each other. And she moved back in with him ultimately. And because I was both their hairdressers at that point in their lives, she came in the first time and said, yeah, I've moved back. And she said, you know what? I feel so badly. And I said, why? She said, when I left him, I took everything. All I left was one fork, one spoon, one knife, one cup, one towel. And she said, I arrived at his place having sold everything in Victoria, and all there was one spoon, one fork, one knife. And so it's that idea of tying it to reincarnation. What are you leaving for your future self when you come back if you've kind of tossed it all out, right? So, something to think about. So when there is stress, it's hard to make good decisions. Would you say that's true? Yeah. I don't think good decisions and stress actually go together at all. And I would invite for you to consider that generally speaking, in this world today, most of us, depending on how we're living, are living with a certain amount of stress. Whether it be to get something done by a certain time, some of the self-imposed limitations and things that we put on ourselves. And if you're still working, the obligations of work, if you're concerned about money or your health or your living arrangements, all of that, that's creating stress. And so again, another wonderful reason to meditate more and to get centered more, because as soon as you do, in that time, and they have measured it, but I don't know how long it is, after you've meditated for about a certain percentage of time of that day, you are actually in that really great place of making good decisions. So if you've got some big decisions to make over the next little while, I invite you to incorporate a little more meditation into it. And maybe it's just to sit out in nature. I think that's one of the best ways to become ecological. Cheryl, who is one of our volunteers here and one of the members, has been posting on Facebook pictures of her dog sitting at the end of the dock looking at the sunset. And I'm thinking, it's those kind of times when we're outside, when we're really engaged in Mother Nature and surrounded by its beauty, that it's hard not to want to honor it in every way that we can. And so if you have been living a life that hasn't incorporated nature very much, maybe start to do a little more. Start to be out there a little more. Even if it's on your balcony and just feeling the breeze and looking at the sky and looking at the clouds or looking at the beautiful flowers. I noticed that as I was driving in. It's just gorgeous. So prayer and meditation are the key. Even Gandhi meditated 2 times a day. When he was busy, he would say, I'm too busy to meditate for an hour today, so I will meditate for 2. So he recognized that when he was feeling stressed, the more time he took to relax and to be centered, the more he actually got done. Interesting idea, and yet so counterintuitive to what we usually do. So meditation and prayer improve, and you know all of these, but I'll tell you yet again. Concentration improves tremendously. Understanding and taking responsibility improve. The ability to speak clearly. You're a better student, you have better relationships. It improves life in every aspect. Even the ability to laugh at yourself when you start to get more centered. So I gave you, or Gerard did, a sheet of all of these different things that you can do to be more ecological and environmentally friendly. Have you had a chance to look at them at all? I would say there's probably 1 or 2 things on this list that I don't do, which I feel really proud of. So I'd invite you to take a look at these and see how you might incorporate some new things if you're wanting to be a little more eco-friendly. Because what you do for the planet, for out there, you're actually doing for yourself. Because life is a mirror. So with a spiritual base, we make a difference in a much bigger way. We have a very eco-friendly administrator here. Her name is Brenda. And Brenda is probably the best person to talk to on any given time to remind you that going to the farmer's market and making things from scratch and being ecological and recycling is the way to go. And one of the things that she has been doing for a while now is making laundry detergent for pennies per gallon and teaching workshops on how to do that. And so she's offered to do a workshop for us, and it'll be an evening more than likely, and you'll get to make some laundry detergent. Now, if you've ever seen her, I mean, she's always really clean and fresh and all of that, so obviously this laundry detergent is working really well for her and her family, because some people will say, well, why do I want to buy that stuff or make that stuff if it's not going to work? And I know that she only uses things that work really well, so I am totally in on doing this. What I'd invite you to do is she's looking for larger containers, if you can bring them in, that are food grade containers, so that as we do this workshop, we can fill them up with this homemade laundry soap. So things like vinegar containers and anything that's larger. If you can, she said it would be fabulous to see clear plastic bags filled with them out in our hallway here to remind people of the fact that we're going to be doing this class. So if you're interested, we haven't set a date for it yet, but she is going to offer it probably a couple of times. And it should be really quite good. So if you have containers, please, I invite you to bring them in. So what stops us from being and doing our best? We talked a little bit about being greedy, about our ego, and about our sense pleasures. And it's so much easier to say, oh, well, like Jackie was saying, let's just get this prepared food with all this plastic and all of this cardboard and add to the landfill, or make things from scratch. So when we take ownership, it's natural to see the world as an extension of ourselves. We can love, we can respect, we have ownership, and it just generally feels good. I remember my son when he was a little kid in public school, and they taught them how to be more eco-friendly back then. And when I would brush my teeth, I would always turn the tap on, and it would run the whole time I was brushing my teeth. And here's this little 7, 8-year-old coming and turning off the tap saying, "Mommy, you're wasting the environment." And so from that day, I still remember almost every time that I turned that tap on, those words from that little kid to turn the tap off. And I actually feel guilty if I forgot and it's running. So there are habits we can get into that make such a difference. So mind pollution causes a polluted consciousness, and that's where meditation clears your mind of all of those negative things, of all of those stresses. So what can you do? You got a few ideas, and there's some on this list that I showed you earlier. Your consciousness always knows right from wrong. And there's even a muscle test that you can do where you stand up with your back close to a wall. If you haven't done a regular muscle test where someone presses your arm down, you can stand there, and if you say something positive, your body will naturally lean forward. If you say something negative, your body actually naturally leans backwards, because your body is responding to the positives and negatives, the good and the not so good for you things that you're thinking about. So if you're, let's say, thinking about doing something, for instance, you could say, "This is good for me," and you may lean backwards because your body's going, "There is no way that's good for you," or your body just naturally leans forward. Now, just a little bit of advice here. Sometimes, because we're so stressed, we can actually be in reverse. So it's always a good idea to say to yourself first, "My name is," and in my case, Anne, and if I go backwards, I know I'm reversed. And so then all of my answers, my yes answers, are actually this way rather than forward. So you can do that little test. Has anyone ever done that kind of muscle testing? So it's really quite fascinating. I invite you to try it. Now, don't make future or past statements, make present tense statements, because there is only now, and you will not get an accurate reading of the energy in your body if you say, "I will," or "this is going to," or "will this work?" It's "this works, I am," instead. Does that make sense? So anybody interested in trying that? Okay. So there are two types of people. Wherever they go is happiness. And then the other, when they go, there is happiness. I invite us to be number one. And so it is.
Thank you, Rev Ann, for such an amazing and useful lecture this morning.
You're welcome.
And now is the time for conscious giving. And before we do that, Linda, would you go to the children's church, please, and bring them in? Thank you. We believe giving is a spiritual practice. If you are here for the first time, know that your presence is a gift to us. Please take your conscious giving envelope in your hand and affirm the following with me, if that is comfortable. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all I have, all I give, and all I receive. And so it is.
And so it is. You were given the monthly prayer cards to put your name on. If you could please put your name on if you'd like to participate in that. And Gerard will collect them as he does the collection. And then if we can have you, Gerard, hand them back out at random afterwards. Thank you.
In the name of love, that's your song. with a heart of grace overflow in us. Decorate this place as it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love, in the name of love. May we always be singing out the best until we all are free, living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song as one, in the name of love. This one's by Gary Lynn Floyd, if you wanted to have a listen. In the name of love, oh, in the name of love, in the name of love, oh, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, then we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love. Oh, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. Beautiful. So let's bless this offering together. Given in love, received in love. This offering goes forth to do its perfect work. All my desires and needs are met by Spirit through me, and so it is. And make sure you get a prayer card from Gerard as he hands them out randomly. I think this is such a wonderful opportunity to spread the love by praying on behalf of someone else as well.
I notice that there is no one present that has not been here before, so welcome back. And let's say hello to all those people online that are watching us through Facebook and YouTube. Hello.
Sure. Okay, so we're getting our prayer cards handed out. Excellent. Something I would like to invite you to do as a volunteer, if you would feel so inclined. We've had some posters made, they're 8.5 by 11, for our fair, which is an artisan and holistic fair in November. And I would love for everyone to take a couple of them or more. If you have places that you can hand them out or put them up, just ask for us. Sure, Joan can get them, they're in the office. So please spread the word, not only for people
who might be interested as artisans. We're looking for sort of one-of-a-kind, handmade, rather than like Avon or something that's a franchise company. Unique things so that we'll have some beautiful ideas for Christmas, as well as we're having some holistic practitioners. I think we have a Reiki practitioner in the audience who's going to be offering some services as well. So, and information about those services at that fair. Yes? Oh, absolutely. What we're looking for is as wide a spectrum of things as we can. We're going to have a lunch kiosk as well, where we're making some vegetarian soup and things like that. We're also inviting you as a community to make Christmas cookies for that particular day, if you can make several dozen, and then what we do is sell them on a donation basis. So if people want to buy, let's say, a bag of a dozen mixed or whatever, that they would give us a donation towards that. But if you could, and have some of your favorite recipes that you could make a few dozen for it, it's on November the 2nd. And then any cookies left over that haven't been sold on that Saturday, we'll continue to sell them on the Sunday. So another fundraising opportunity, and you get a freezer full of fabulous cookies that you didn't have to make yourself. So join with me in closing prayer. As I breathe and relax into this moment, remembering there is only one. There's only one thing going on here, in spite of the fact that when I look, it seems to be a multiplicity of things. It is God, it is Spirit, it is Source. Some days I call it George. And it is everywhere present at all times. And I feel so blessed, knowing this is true, as I attempt to walk forward, leaving a smaller footprint as I love the earth. So I let go and I let it be so with a grateful heart. Please join with me in saying, and so it is. And it is birthday Sunday. So let's have the kids come up and let's sing this birthday song. Is there anyone whose birthday is this month, the month of September? Nobody in the audience, but we know there are all kinds of September birthday people out there, so let's sing this together. And then we're going to find out what you guys did at Sunday school today.
Let's bless all the September babies. My daughter Lydia, we love you. We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. And let's turn inwardly and bless ourselves. Here we go. We love you. We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ in you. We're going to have to do a little dance for all the September babies. Blessings.
Awesome. So what did you kids do today? Want to show us what project you made? Tell us what you made. What is it? Does it make noise? Oh, yeah. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Awesome. And one last song. Are you ready to sing and dance to this one? Okay. Okay. You don't have to.
Alrighty. If we can reach out and touch someone, give somebody's hand a little squeeze as we sing this one. planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family sharing one sun, one tie that binds us that can't be undone. One choice unites us, let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family sharing one sun, one tie that binds us that can't be undone. One choice unites us, let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. And all the people say, amen. Have a wonderful week.